I honestly never pictured myself telling this story to anyone, let alone typing it all out like this, but here we are. My name is Natalie, I am 32, and my now husband, Ethan, is 34. We have been together for about 5 years, married very recently, and our wedding week was nothing like what I imagined it would be. In some ways I am angry, ashamed, and exhausted. In other ways, I am ridiculously proud of him. It has been a weird mix of emotions. The backstory. Ethan is one of those people you rarely meet in real life. He is kind, calm, patient, and genuinely humble. We met through work in Dallas, but our relationship developed outside the office, over coffee runs and late-night talks. From the beginning, I knew he was solid. What I did not realize, at least not fully, was how rich his family actually is. He always came across like any normal guy. He drove this older silver Honda Civic, wore basic clothes from Target and outlet malls, and worked long hours just like the rest of us. No designer labels, no bragging, no flashy toys. I had a small suspicion he might come from money, little things would slip, but it did not really click until I met his parents for the first time. They live in this huge house on the outskirts of Austin, the kind you only see on real estate apps when you filter way above your budget. A long driveway, 3-car garage, landscaped everything. But they themselves? Super down to earth. His mom offered me homemade cookies, his dad wore a faded college t-shirt, and they were both incredibly warm and low-key. In contrast, my family is, a lot. We are a big, loud immigrant family. I was born in the United States, but my parents moved here from another country and still hold on tight to the language, food, and traditions. I love them, I really do, but they are obsessed with appearances and status. Growing up in Chicago, everything was a competition. Who had the highest grades? Who went to the best university? Who got engaged first? Who married someone with the most money or the most respectable career? My aunts and uncles are professional comparers. Every conversation turns into bragging or gossip: who bought a bigger house in the suburbs, whose kid drives a nicer car, whose son is a doctor, whose daughter is a disappointment. So when I brought Ethan home to meet everyone, I hoped, naively, that they would see what I see in him, a kind, hardworking, respectful man who adores me. On the surface, they were polite. Smiles, small talk, nice to meet you. Underneath, though, I could feel this wall. As if they had quietly decided he was not enough. Later that night, I heard my aunt whisper to my mom in our language, basically asking why I chose some regular American guy instead of a man from our community who understood our values. That stung more than I wanted to admit. I did not say anything, because I was tired of drama, but the comment stuck with me. It was my first real sign that, in their minds, Ethan would never measure up. Ethan's secret project. What they did not know is that Ethan had been taking my culture and family very seriously from the start. About 1.5 years into our relationship, he started asking me to teach him little phrases in my native language. At first I thought it was just curiosity. Then he downloaded language apps. Then he hired an online tutor. I eventually found out he had scheduled weekly sessions for over a year, squeezing them in after work, before bed, even during his lunch breaks. He told me he wanted to surprise my parents and extended family by speaking in our language during the wedding. He would just smile and say, "You will see," whenever I asked how it was going. That is just who Ethan is. He does not talk big, he quietly does big. Meanwhile, my family noticed none of this effort. Instead, they complained. My mom made comments like, "The guest list is too small, it does not look good for the family if the wedding isn't big." My dad kept asking Ethan strangely pointed questions about his job. How much does that field really pay? Is there room for promotion? Shade, but dressed up as curiosity. Even my siblings started making jokes that Ethan was too quiet and too simple and not built like us. I kept brushing it off, telling myself they would eventually warm up. The night before the wedding. The day before our wedding, we had a small get-together at my parents' house in the suburbs. Just close family and a few friends, food everywhere, loud music, kids running around, typical. At first, everything seemed okay. Ethan was helping my mom in the kitchen, carrying trays, refilling drinks, and making small talk with my uncles. But as the evening wore on, I noticed he went quieter than usual. He is usually great at conversation. He knows how to listen and ask questions and make people comfortable. But this time, he looked stiff and uncomfortable, like he was forcing himself to be present. When I pulled him aside in the hallway and asked if he was okay, he gave me a tight smile and said, "I am all right. Just tired." Something in his eyes said otherwise. Later on, he asked, in a really soft voice, "Nat, do you know what your family has been saying about me?" I froze. He then told me that a few of my relatives had been talking trash about him in our native language, assuming he could not understand a word. Only, he could. He had understood every single thing. They had laughed at his clothes, saying he dressed too basic, like he had no idea how to show respect at a proper family event. One of my cousins called his car a college kid's car and wondered out loud if he was just faking having a decent job. Another relative made fun of the way he tried to participate in our customs, saying he was performing and trying too hard to impress us. Then came my mom's close friend, the Queen of Judgment. She bragged about her son, a doctor in New York, and said he would have been a better match for me. She implied I was wasting my potential on someone who did not understand our traditions. It got uglier. Someone joked that Ethan probably wanted a submissive foreign wife, that is why he was marrying outside his culture. Another person said if he were actually successful, he would have married within his own world and not settled for me. Hearing all of this secondhand, from him, made me physically sick. I apologized over and over, but he just shook his head and told me not to worry, said he would handle it and that I should go back to the party and try to enjoy myself. I did not know what handle it meant. I just knew he was hurt and trying not to ruin the night. The wedding and the speech. Our wedding the next day was beautiful on the surface. It was in a small but elegant venue in downtown Chicago, with string lights, good food, and a mix of our cultures. The ceremony went smoothly. We said our vows, took photos, cut the cake. Then came the speeches. After dinner, it was Ethan's turn. He started off in English, thanking everyone for being there, thanking my parents for raising me, and saying all the sweet things you expect to hear from a groom. Then, without warning, he switched into my native language. The room went dead silent. His accent was a little off, but he spoke clearly. People's eyes got huge. My mom's hand flew to her mouth. My dad stiffened. My aunts and uncles looked like they had been caught on camera doing something bad. Ethan calmly repeated his thanks, in my language this time. Then he said, "It has meant a lot to me to be welcomed into this family. I have tried very hard to learn your language and your customs, because I love Natalie and I respect where she comes from." Then he paused, and his tone changed just a little. "But last night, some of you said things about me that were very hurtful." He proceeded to quote, in our language, almost word for word. The comments about his clothes. The insults about his car. The assumptions about his job. The doctor's son who would have been better. The disgusting jokes about why a man would marry outside his culture. He did not name names, but everyone in that room knew exactly who had said what. He stayed completely calm. No yelling, no swearing, no theatrics. Just facts. Then he said, still in our language, "For those of you who thought I was not good enough for your daughter, niece, cousin, or that I was beneath your standards, I want to be very clear, I did not marry into your family for money, status, or approval. I married Natalie because I love her. For 4.5 years, I chose to live simply. I drove an old car, wore regular clothes, and worked long hours like everyone else. I never mentioned my family's finances because I did not think it defined me. But since some people here decided I must be poor, lazy, or after something, let me clarify. I come from a family that owns multiple companies and significant real estate across several states. I have my own investment portfolio, businesses, and assets. I am not saying this to brag. I am saying it because you assumed I had nothing, and you treated me accordingly. He ended with, if you judge people based on what they wear, what they drive, or where they are from, you will always underestimate the ones who do not feel the need to prove anything to you. I respect this family and this culture, but I will not accept disrespect. For those who welcome me, I will give you my whole heart. For those who do not, that is your loss. Then he switched back to English, raised his glass, and toasted. To my wife, the love of my life, and to the people who truly know what matters. A few people clapped. Others just sat there in stunned silence. I wanted to sink into the floor and hug him at the same time. I was mortified that it came to that, and proud of how he handled it. Update 1, the fallout begins. About 3 days after the wedding, Ethan and I were supposed to leave for our honeymoon in Hawaii. We canceled and pushed it back a few weeks. Neither of us felt right sipping cocktails on a beach while everything at home was on fire. Instead, we spent those days having hard conversations and fielding calls from my family. My parents came over 2 days after the wedding. I was nervous. My dad is usually the pretend nothing happened and move on type, so I did not expect much. They started with something that technically counted as an apology, but really just felt like PR. My mom said, we never meant to hurt Ethan, and you know how people gossip, it does not mean anything. My dad jumped straight into, Ethan should have been the bigger person. Calling everyone out at his own wedding was wrong. It made the family look bad. That was my breaking point. I told them, very clearly, that the only people who made the family look bad were the ones who sat around insulting a man who had done nothing but try to fit in. I said Ethan did not owe them silence while they mocked him in a language they thought he could not understand. My dad tried to play it off as just jokes. I said jokes are only funny when everyone is laughing, not when you are punching down on somebody behind their back. Ethan stayed calm through all of this, calmer than I was. He told my parents he did not regret anything he said. He admitted he had not planned to speak like that, but after hearing what he heard, he could not sit through the reception pretending everything was fine. Then he said something that stuck with me. I hope this can be a learning moment. I want us to move forward, because Natalie loves you. But moving forward means being honest. My mom seemed to hear that. She went quiet and said she would talk to some of the relatives who had been involved. My dad, on the other hand, just looked annoyed and murmured about respect and our way of doing things. After they left, I thought maybe things would calm down. Instead, my phone blew up. One aunt texted that she felt attacked by Ethan's speech and that bringing up money made everyone feel small. A cousin called saying some relatives blamed me for letting Ethan embarrass them. My mom told me her friend, the doctor's son lady, said I should apologize to the family elders for not protecting them from my husband's words. I told my mom I was not apologizing for other people's behavior. Period. The one bright spot? A couple of my cousins called to apologize. One admitted she had laughed along with the rude comments just to fit in and felt sick about it afterward. Another sent a sincere apology directly to Ethan. But a lot of the older generation doubled down. Ethan kept telling me not to waste my energy, but I could tell it bothered him. He gets quiet when my family comes up and avoids the more crowded wedding photos. He will not say it, but I know. Update 2, honeymoon, sort of, and shifting sides. About 10 days after the wedding, we finally left for our honeymoon, same trip, just delayed. Honestly, it was the best decision we could have made. Away from the constant noise, we finally had space to talk. One night on the balcony, I broke down and told him how ashamed I felt of my family, and how guilty I felt for not standing up for him in the moment. He told me I did not need to feel guilty, that he knew where I stood, and that he never felt alone up there during his speech. We spent the next few days just being us again, exploring, eating too much, swimming, laughing. No group chats. No aunties. No drama. Just us. Of course, the family drama did not vanish. Even from Maui, I got updates. My mom texted that some relatives were now Team Ethan after talking to one of my uncles, the loud one, the unofficial ringleader. He apparently admitted to everyone that he had misjudged Ethan, and said he was impressed by how he handled himself in another language. That actually made a difference for some people. On the negative side, my dad kept repeating the same story to anyone who would listen. Ethan was disrespectful, Ethan should apologize, Ethan shamed the family. I decided I was done trying to change his mind. You cannot reason someone out of a position they did not reason themselves into. Ethan and I also talked about future family gatherings. He said he is willing to go to events if I want to, but he will not put himself somewhere he is being disrespected. I told him that is completely fair. Right now, we are taking a quality over quantity approach. We are focusing on the relatives who genuinely care and are capable of self-reflection. The rest? Background noise. Update 3, drawing the line. Fast forward a few more weeks. Things on the surface have cooled down, but underneath, some people are still holding grudges. I made a decision: if someone cannot respect my husband and my marriage, they do not get access to me. I am done. The real turning point was a conversation with my parents a few days before a big annual family gathering. My dad casually suggested that maybe Ethan should sit this one out this year so people can cool down. The implication was that my husband should disappear to make everyone else more comfortable. I snapped. I told him that if anybody needed to skip family events, it was the people who talked trash about Ethan, not Ethan himself. I said if anyone should be embarrassed to show their face, it is the ones who judged and mocked someone who did nothing but try. He started in with family harmony and keeping the peace. I told him harmony without accountability is just silence and resentment, and I am not interested in that. I turned to my mom, hoping she would back me up. Instead, she looked trapped, eyes darting between my dad and me. I could tell she agreed with me deep down, but she would not say it out loud. She was more afraid of setting my dad off than defending me and Ethan. That realization hurt more than I expected. But it also flipped a switch in me. I told them both, very plainly. I do not need their approval to be happy. Ethan does not need to keep proving himself to them. He has already done more to earn their respect than they have done to earn his. My priority is my marriage now, not their pride. I reminded them of everything Ethan had done, learning the language, respecting the customs, constantly showing up. Then I pointed out that he still never raised his voice, never insulted anyone by name, and never cursed at them, even when they truly deserved it. My dad went quiet. My mom walked me to the door when I left and whispered that she understood how I felt but did not know how to fix it. I told her it was not about fixing the past, it was about choosing to do better from now on. Since that day, I feel lighter. I am not walking on eggshells anymore. I am not sugarcoating things in my own head. I am not placing everyone else's comfort above my husband's dignity, or my own. Ethan and I are good. Better than good, honestly. This whole mess pulled us closer together. We have had some of the most honest conversations of our lives in the last couple of weeks. A few nights ago, we finally sat down and went through our wedding photos. I was nervous, worried that all I would see was tension and fake smiles. But that is not what stood out. Yes, there are a few pictures where I can practically feel certain people judging from across the room. But there are so many more of us laughing, dancing, hugging friends who truly love us, taking shots with cousins who apologized, smiling with his parents, and just looking happy. That is what I am choosing to hold on to. If there is one big thing I have taken away from all of this, it is this. Money does not reveal someone's character. Pressure does. Ethan's character showed up in the way he handled everything, with strength, with boundaries, and with respect for himself and for me. Mine is showing up now, in the lines I am drawing and the people I am choosing. To anyone dealing with something similar, you are not responsible for making toxic people comfortable. You do not have to sacrifice your partner's dignity to keep fake peace. Family is important, but the family you build with the person you marry? That has to come first.